So, my friend, after learning the first step, we are clear this entire world are made up of two types, the self and the not self. Not self means I am not, and self means what really I am. So when we are clear in our intellect and the mind that here is the real self and I am not living in that real self, what to do? So the second step starts from there, all about karma. When I'm not living in the real self and when I perform the karma, then what happens? I'm not fully aware that which karma will bring the good result, which karma will bring the bad result. So in the second step, we should be very clear how to perform the karma. Karma is a physical act, totally expressed outside. But what is going on inside my mind, my thought process, and my feeling? Once we are clear of the feeling, thought process going on in the head, and I'm consciously aware that here is an action that I need to perform. So some karma, so we will take up the first part of the second step. We should understand clearly about our actions that we perform in our daily life and how these actions means karma, which also includes the law of karma. So how these actions lead us to favorable, unfavorable, painful, pleasurable experiences. And when the intellect is clear and the mind follows that intellect in performing our actions in our daily life, we move to the next step in the journey of the self-discovery. So some karma gives instant result of pain and pleasure. You are hungry, your action is taking food, eating food, and you are happy. Instant result. You give something that you have to a poor guy. Not only you feel happy in giving, but also the poor becomes happy. That gives a kind of satisfaction in the mind. You see the karma and its result. So some karma gives us instant result. Same thing like if I become angry and abuse someone, hurt someone, I feel also hurt. There is a hurt inside. It gives me pain. Someone abuses me. It also gives me pain because my action. Some karma give results later in the future. We are excited. We enjoy food. We continue to enjoy the same kind of a food. And after a few weeks, we suffer from constipation. The karma gives results later. So that is another way to understand karma. My honey, I was served with a tamale. Tamale, Mexican food with lot of cheese. When I took it for about a week, I felt little heaviness. and a constipation. So some karma gives result much later. I enjoyed, I experienced that I like it is pleasurable to me. So the pleasure moves to the pain. Other karma causes favorable and unfavorable conditions in the states of the mind. That result also comes in the future. So it means we are understanding that how to perform the karma. But before understanding the types of the karma and how to do that karma in our daily life, it is important to understand the origin of the karma, the effects of the karma. Karma is a secret weapon, and karma is a secret danger in our life that destroys our life also, and that makes our life. So these karma creates a favorable and unfavorable conditions in our day-to-day life. The reason may be habitual, instinctive, socially accepted norms out of excitement and due to the ego causes much harm than the result. Karma is caused even due to the anger, comes from the feeling of being inferior. Yes, this is what the master talks about. When I am performing a karma due to the anger or unconsciously or habitually, but an element of anger and the confusion is there, master says that we have some kind of an inferiority complex. Even we don't see it, but it is there. No karma can be done, no action is expressed or done in our life without the thought, feeling, speech. So you can see the feeling is there in the heart, then converts into a thought, and that thought prompts me to act. So it means thought is nothing but object plus I am. I want to eat pasta. So I am going to eat pasta. That is a thought. So now separate that thought. There is I am and pasta and eating. See that? So pasta is an object and I am. So object plus I am leads to a thought process. Now another step comes. What feeling I have for the pasta? A liking or disliking or wisdom. So if I have the wisdom that supports me in eating pasta, first level of the challenges and the problems disappear. And second is, I know I am. So when I know I am, that I am removes the likes and dislikes, pain and the pleasure element before performing a karma of eating. Okay, I'll eat pasta, so one time is okay. But I don't get that feeling being repeated. When that feeling being repeated, it causes the attachment. And any attachment leads to delusion. And the delusion causes the habit and the ego sense and addiction. So don't think that we have only addiction towards any object. We have addiction towards our thought process, our feeling, in favor or against people, our relations, in day-to-day life. You have to listen to it again and again. You have to understand the secret of karma again and again. And once this goes into the head, the intellect is clear, the mind is clear, then we can live a better life, a peaceful life, a happy life beyond pain and pleasure. So we are understanding the part of the karma. And the karma, behind that karma we have a thought, we have a feeling, and that thought consists of the object plus I am. So I should be very clear about the object, and I should be very clear I am. But then what happens? If we are not clear, then there is a cycle of thought. That thought process continues. It moves in a circle. And that circle, Patanjali says, it is a vritti. Vritti, thought pattern, our behavior, our attitude moves in a circle. And that cycle of thought process is known as sanskaras. We can say there are two words, sanskaras and vasana. So vasana means vasati. Vasata means that lives, that has made its home in my mind. So when a particular thought about an object with a liking has made its home in my mind, that liking causes the attachment, and attachment leads to an obsession, and that obsession keeps triggering in my mind is vasana or sanskaras or past impressions. See that? And that cycle continues. So when that cycle continues, I say, this is what I mean. This is the only thing that is right. The entire world, including the near and the dear ones, are wrong. And what I'm searching? I'm searching permanent happiness. I'm searching how to evolve. I am looking for how to live a life beyond stress and suffering. But because of this cycle of the impressions being repeated as my thought, as my behavior, will prompt me to act accordingly. So what prompts me to act habitually, instinctively, impulsively? Because of the wrong notions created by the thought pattern which expresses as a behavior. So that is what we say sanskaras or vasana. You know, our masters gave two meaning to the sanskaras. I know you are an expert in your field of landscaping. What you do? The trees in the garden or the front yard has grown unevenly. What you do? You trim it. To make it beautiful with a shape. Not only you do that, you make sure that a particular plant is nurtured by the water and also the fertilizer. You also see that other weeds should not grow nearby that tree. So this is one meaning of sanskar. Sanskar. So one meaning of the sanskar that, oh, this behavior is not fair, so let me trim it, mold it, change it. My attitude, my skill should be aligned with my real self. So if it is not aligned with my real self, then the sanskara, what I explained, is the cycle of the thought process and the behavior. so that the action that I perform not coming from the sanskaras, a particular habitual pattern of my thought behavior. But question comes, what about these past impressions, from where they have come? We are exploring the origin of the karma that we are doing, or that we have done in the past. We are repenting on it, and that we have done in the past, we are happy about it. So these impressions comes from the birth, from parents, from ancestors, from environment, from a clan, from religion, from society. Normally, I have seen, which has become very common in the modern world, that if my parents have certain impressions and I have witnessed it over a period of years, certain character and attitude and a behavior in the mind is developed, and I start living accordingly, and that causes a lot of challenges in our life. So these impressions should be given a right direction to help in our daily life to perform the karma in a right way. It means we are going a little deeper, that how these impressions are working in my life, that I have inherited, that came from the previous life. How to change those karmas? We need two things, the right knowledge and the right practice. You see that knowledge does not change. For example, if I say, I know you, so that very knowledge about you as a human being and a person will no change. But the practice means the change. Practice means a movement from what I am now in my thinking, behavior, and action to something new, something more inspiring, something more integrating. So what is the meaning of the practice in the journey of the self-discovery? In modern understanding, let me do the practice. We say close our eyes, focus on the breath. This is the practice. But if it is not supported by the right knowledge, why I am focusing on the breath and why I am aware of the breath and what I am looking for, then the proper result will never be there. That is what is happening. It's not a criticism, it's just an understanding. I go to the garage, I look at the car, I sit in the car, I start the car, but I don't have a right knowledge to drive the car. Even if I have the right knowledge to drive the car, that is also okay. But I start driving without any destination in my head. That is what is, we say, focus on the breath, you'll be relaxed. No doubt. So we should understand clearly, practice. Practice means action. So that karma we are doing as a practice hardly for 1 hour. But the rest 23 hours, the mind goes back to those past impressions and it drives all the actions from those sanskaras and the past impressions. So what happens? Those negativity, those challenges, unfavorable conditions are expressed in our life. So first let us pick up the meaning of the practice. The first thing of the first word of practice is used in Eastern wisdom, which is known as sadhana. Sadhana means what is desired and what is not desired. I should be 100% clear with understanding and the knowledge what is desired in my life and what is not desired in my life. When I am aware, when I know what is not desired, when I know and I am aware what is desired, sadhana takes over our mind to a purified state. Intellect becomes clear. And that intellect governs the mind to follow a right action. So until now, so-called the practice, it is a knowledge practice. It is happening in my mind before I take any action. In my personal life, in my professional and social life. Second means that now I know what is right, I know what is desired, and I start performing an action, but the challenge is posed by the mind. Example, I love you all. That is my thought. That is a proper direction to the mind. But the moment I meet a person whom I met before and I had a score to settle, my mind becomes angry, agitated, excited, wants to escape, react or resist, and long list. We already know. What should we do in that moment? So the second word Masters teaches is meaning upaya, device, steps, tool. So we should use some tool, device, step to dissolve that feeling. Why to dissolve that feeling? Even if my mind claims that the other person is wrong, negative, totally opposite, because it hurts me more. Because I get a feeling of the negativity inside my heart. And if I don't stop it, remove it, then mind will continue to behave the same way, not only with one person. It will become our habit. So upaya means a step, a device, or a tool to be included in the meditation to remove that resistance reaction. One thing is very important in upaya. Upaya means that this is the means I will be employing. And once my problem of reaction and anger goes away, I will leave that. But the sadhana continues. Sadhana, what is desired and not desired, to reach to the higher state. And upaya, the tools and the devices that we use during our journey of self-discovery. But how to use that tool? So Patanjali answers with regularity, with commitment, with intense aspiration. With intense aspiration. Another problem with these sanskaras, the past impression comes. My mind says I have understood anger is bad, but still anger and the anxiety manifest. I know sugar is not good for me, for example, but still when I see it, my mind does not believe that sugar is bad and I take it. So in order to remove those feeling and the thought and the behavior pattern, what is known as abhyasa. So Patanjali says abhyasa means regular practice with wisdom, with dispassion, that I will take up later. We are understanding the basics. What are the challenges we have to face when we perform a particular karma? Even saying I love you or I hate you, I don't like you, this is also a karma, doing the karma in our personal, professional, social and a family life. So from the step 1, what we have learned, there is a real self and there is a not self. So I maintain my awareness on the real self. My mind is holding on to the real self in thought, speech and action. First thing. We'll go back again to that sanskaras which causes the karma, the favorable and the unfavorable circumstances. I'm deviating from the topic because that is also important to know. So when I'm holding in my mind the real self and its nature all the time, indirectly it is affecting my thought behavior, and the thought and the behavior is affecting my karma. So that is why I discussed there should be 4-step action that we should be doing. The first is the listener. As I become the best listener, paying attention, going deeper into the principles and understanding. Second step is to speak out, express it. Nobody is knowing, but you are expressing. When you are expressing, you are in the mode of the practice. In your relationship, with your honey, with parents, with your employees, with your friends, you speak out those principles. Third, when you are neither a speaker nor a listener, abhyasa, the practice should continue daily. And when the mind is not working, you can into that I have discussed in detail perhaps before. If not, let me know. So when the mind is not actually active in our daily life, I recall and repeat and revise these principles in my mind. Otherwise, the mind will continue to behave and act in the same fashion. So returning to the karma again in the sanskaras, what exactly is the karma? Why to perform karma? What are the types of the karma? What is the cause and effect in karma? How to perform the karma in daily life? Can karma bring infinite peace and permanent happiness? That is our topic. So karma is thought also, karma is speech also, karma is action also. What do you think in the mind? What do you speak? What and how do you act? All belongs to karma. How simple it is to understand when there is a conflict and opposing thought, speech and action. What I think, I speak. I do not speak this. I speak differently. Whatever I speak, I act differently. So if there is a confusion between the thought, speech and action, then there is a problem. And the mind continues to gather these opposing impressions of the thought, speech and action daily, millions of times. Again sanskaras, it creates sanskaras. So those sanskaras, when they are expressed in the karma, create favorable and unfavorable circumstances. So when you listen to this talk again and again, you will get the understanding of it. So this karma, can we leave that karma? Karma is a signature of life. No life without karma. No choice to avoid action. Not for a single moment. We cannot avoid karma. Sleeping is a karma. Movement is a karma. Eating is a karma. Going to the restroom is a karma. We cannot avoid any karma in our human species are the only one out of 8.4 million species who becomes conscious of their karma. Ask your dog, do you become aware of the karma? No. So because we become aware of the karma, and sometime or majority of the time we identify with the karma. I have done this. I should not have done this. I repent on what I have done. I enjoy what I have done. See that? That ego sense is attached to that karma. That is where the law of karma begins. We need not to start thinking in a direction where we cannot understand the law of karma. The law of karma applies to us because identification with the karma is the problem. You have given charity to someone and the mind says, I have done it. Even the good karma becomes bad karma. Because I expect you to do this and I became angry because my expectations are not met. Again the same karma becomes bad. That is why we say animals cannot evolve consciously. Karma by all living species governed by nature. All the karmas. We can bypass the nature because of intellect. If the karma does not follow the intellect. So, we are now trying to solve the riddle of the karma. The intellect must provide me the right knowledge so that right knowledge should lead to right action. Now see, it means every karma should follow my value, my goal of life through understanding by the intellect. But how the intellect is made to understand? By discernment and dispassion. What is discernment? So in the step 1 we have understood here is the real self and here is the not self. Here I am, here I am not. Here is the world of matter and here is the world of consciousness. You see that? That is one way of discernment. And what about dispassion? I am not the world. I am not the mind and the body. Can I live into that state? There's one example. We'll go deeper into further steps that makes the things clear. So now in the light of understanding, when I say I am angry, I am pleased, I am happy, I am attached, karma is expressed accordingly. I hate you, I don't like you, you don't fulfill my expectation. Even if I don't think about it, these impressions are there. Because you don't fulfill my expectations, that is deeply present in my mind as an impression. One day it will happen that I have to leave you. Mind will say, do you remember the famous phrase, enough is enough? So now I am governed by the law of karma. We are understanding that what is karma, what are the different types of karma, how to perform the karma in daily lives, not to deposit, not to create those impressions which continues the law of karma and offers me the unfavorable circumstances, anxiety, stress, pain, pleasure, etc., etc. And we have understood we can bypass the nature. Means we can bypass the nature, means we can bypass the ego sense attached to the karma. I have done it. I don't like this. I will do like this. I and the karma are so deeply identified. And that causes lot of challenges at every moment in my life, in my thought, in my behavior. Ego's sense behind the karma is a wrong notion. It is a delusion caused by not knowing our real nature. And every karma is affecting my thought, behavior, speech and action. Because the sense of doership is there. Can I escape? That's what we are understanding. Karma is finite, the result is finite, ego sense is the finite, seeking infinite. That's another conclusion. What it means? I am seeking permanent happiness through my relationship with you. Just an example. But that karma is done by the body, breath, mind, intellect, and the ego, which is limited. I am expecting infinite happiness, which is not possible. So what happens when I start thinking and reflecting in this way? My mind drops that ego sense from me, and then I perform the action for the sake of an action. So that's what I have also discussed couple of times, and there we are going deeper. You see, look at the daily activities, the daily karma. Going to the restroom does not create an ego sense. But who should go first if there is only one restroom? Act is the same, in which the mind says, no, I will go first. So ego sense is created in the relationship to the going to the restaurant. Oh no, I like to eat only this, that meets my hunger. Ego sense. Otherwise, bathing, clearing our bowels, eating, cooking food, talking, walking, they are also karma. They don't create any challenges in our life. When the ego sense is inside. So we have discussed and we have understood when we perform the karma as a play and a fun. Like a Hollywood actor who performs the role of a criminal. He receives the right knowledge, the plot, the people associated and the result, and then he acts like a criminal. He performs the role and he is free from it. No ego sense. How to live into that state? So we should understand the types of the karma. But before understanding the types of the karma that we need to do, we have started the journey that it is all my past impressions accumulated in the mind as karma shaya. Karma shaya means the storehouse of karma. So once we have understood the cause of the karma is the past impression, so now we want to go little deeper. Our master speaks about good karma leads to merit. Bad karma leads to demerits. Merit gives me happiness, demerit gives me pain. So that pain that we experience in our daily life is done by the ego sense and caused by the ignorance. So when we perform the karma, because of out of ego sense and ignorance, that will cause, that is known in religion as sins. But we say the sin is error in judgment. That we will take up later. So when I work from my essential nature, merit is earned, and that merit gives me happiness. Even though we understand the karma is finite and limited, but we cannot live without karma. So it means we are understanding the essence of performing an action. We should also understand one more point in this. So when I say ego sense, it means I am the doer and I am the enjoyer. But let us see who is the doer and who is the enjoyer. So that also will clear these couple of points together, so that we can understand what type of karma needs to be done and what type of karma should not be done. So you see that objects is outside. Sense organ picks up the object. Mind processes with the likes and dislikes. From the likes and dislikes in the mind causes attachment and detachment. Attachment and detachment causes delusion. Pay attention here. We have gone step by step. Objects, sense organs, likes, dislikes, attachment and detachment. Stop here. Reflect. So because of attachment and detachment, there is an obvious reaction or a response, pleasure or a pain. So this attachment and detachment leads to delusion. What is delusion? What appears true is not true. Delusion also means the happiness is outside, not inside. Delusion also means accepting wrong notion as a right notion. Why I am saying so? Because of the delusion, we become the doer and the enjoyer. Because of the delusion, there comes an ego sense, and now begins the law of karma. Why? Because I become the doer. I become the enjoyer. Now examine little deeply. Who is the enjoyer and a doer? Sense organs are not me. They are a part and parcel of every action. Mind is not me. Intellect is not me. Who the hell doer is in me? This doer is caused by the delusion, identifying itself with the object, sense organs, mind, intellect. This is causal body. This is the body of the ignorance. So based on my previous birth, from there all the impressions have resulted this birth, and because I am of the nature and the behavior and the attitude based on my previous karma, is known as swadharma, means my personal nature. And that personal nature contains vasanas, past impressions, and they continue the cycle of pain and the pleasure. They continue and repeat and revise the thought and the behavior. And that is what the religion talks about. They result in sins and the virtues, the vice and the virtue. What is the sin? Error in judgment. From where the error in judgment has come? From my ignorance, ignorant body, causal body, what it contains, all the past impressions. I have accumulated those impressions in this life also and from the previous life. That is known as my personal nature. And what is my real nature? It is full of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. It is hidden behind my personal nature. So whenever we experience anxiety, duality, conflict, reaction, problem, challenges, unfavorable conditions, circumstances, I'm living based on my personal nature. Responsibility of the personal nature is the ignorant body, the past impression, the vasanas, the law of karma. Law of the karma has one strong element, the sense of ego. I am the doer and the enjoyer, when there is neither a doer nor an enjoyer. We can understand little deeper again. So Swadharma is responsible for my all the karma, and Swadharma is based on. So once I explore one and I find what is right and good, from those impressions I accept what is right and good and I leave what is not. Sadhana. Mind does not want me to leave. Upaya. And that upaya has to be done regularly with commitment in order to release, remove that, or to break the cycle of law of karma. Then what will happen? My life enters into the real nature. Understand again in an interesting way. Sugar is sweet. Sweetness is the essential nature of a sugar. What is the shape and the size of a sugar? Sweetness, not sugar, but sweetness. No shape, no size, but that is essential nature. Our essential nature is always hidden behind the name and the form. Now, for example, you are person A, name. You are a person A with certain shape, with a gender, with a background, married or unmarried, etc., etc. So this is all superficial, secondary nature. Did you get it? So sweetness of a sugar is essential nature. What about candy? You remove the sweetness from the candy. It no longer remains the candy, but outside candy has a different shape, size, form, color. And why we eat it? Because of the essential nature, sweetness. So that candy with its shape and the name and the form and the size and the weight is my personal nature, caused by the law of karma, the past impressions. I have to get rid of it. From the personal nature, I have to enter into my essential nature. So essential nature of every human being is the same. Sweetness of a sugar, but the superficial nature, the outer nature is always unique and different. You are what you are. I am what I am. See that? So that personal nature must undergo a change. So common dharma or essential nature is the same and the superficial nature is different. Can you recall back personal nature, ego sense, doer and the enjoyer? Vasana means impressions, where the impressions, vasati, in the causal body, and past impressions from the previous birth, from the current birth, results into favorable and unfavorable circumstances that leads to the karma in our daily life. We are understanding the reason of the karma. Let us go a little deeper into the personal nature. The personal nature, pain and pleasure, sorrow and happiness, they are determined by my personal nature. With you I am happy, with the second one I am unhappy due to the personal nature, not due to the essential nature. Swadharma or personal nature is always dominated, dictated by the Rajoguna and Tamoguna. And behind every karma, in that case, it is the vasana, the past impressions. What our master says, we need to exhaust all the karmas, vasana, past impressions in our life, so that we can bring that real nature in front. If we do not do it, then the suffering will continue. So, once we are very clear, we have seen the origin of the karma. The beauty of the Eastern wisdom is that our master says, now once you have understood the origin of that karma and how the law of karma binds us, we have to release that law of karma by the karma itself, by understanding the different types of karma and how to perform them in our daily life. So the knowledge that we have learnt in the first step is to be applied in action, in personal, in professional, in social life. Why? That knowledge applied is the knowledge realized. And the knowledge realized keeps the mind free from the past impressions, because wisdom is there, discernment is there, dispassion is there. So in that attitude, I perform the karma in my daily life. It becomes a play and a fun. Even I need to exhaust all the past karmas, but I have started changing, transforming, evolving my life. So the step 2, after learning what is self and what is not self, clearly it is settled in the intellect, and the intellect is constantly guiding the mind. And in that state in the mind, we should discover how to perform an action in my daily, personal, professional, social life. So this week, do the regular practice, and the moment you wake up in the morning, become aware of these principles, and then start performing the action and see how the action is helping you and how the action is creating challenges in your life. When you wake up in the morning, the desires were also sleeping in a sleeping state, and they also wake up. You wake up. Desire says, here are the challenges that you have to face. Can I give a break before the desires take over the mind? We said, okay, give us a break. What break you give? Just remember, my essential nature is of the nature of pure consciousness, free from the name and the form. Truth, it is of the nature of the truth, permanent happiness, love and wisdom. And stay there in that state. Before any other thought in the form of a desire takes over your mind, do the same thing before going to sleep. So you have kept all the desires at bay, and the mind is going into deep sleep. In a week, we acquire a habit that keeps all the desires at bay. The desires comes from those past impressions. And those past impressions, vasanas in the sanskaras, from this birth and the previous birth. Why we are doing this? In order to evolve and accelerate the process of evolution. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.